Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video I want to introduce you to the newest member of the Awesome Framers family. And I gotta say, I am so tickled pink to have a new crew member. Would you like to be introduced? It is the new Awesome Framers collaboration with Nick's Handmade Boots. This is the Woodbutcher HD. Just give you a nice little look at this boot. You notice it is a wedge sole mock toe. That is my favorite style of boot. Been wearing these going, way back. It used to be the Sears Die Hard boot. In like the early 90s, that's what all the guys wore on the crew. So naturally, that's what us young guys would wear on the crew. You probably remember that Awesome Framers teamed up with Nick's. 2 years ago, I got to go visit in Spokane, Washington, where they make these boots. They are totally handmade. That was quite a fun trip, by the way, getting to see how they were made. I also got to try my hand at it a little bit and realized it's better if I just stick to building houses. My skills are not the kind of skills. I'm like a sledgehammer, and you would need the skills of like somebody who uses a scalpel. So, just saying, Timmy's a bit of a sledgehammer. I did not have the skills to do this. Anyway, so they're handmade in Spokane, Washington. Very cool to watch the process. Let me back up. 3 years ago is actually when Nick's first reached out. And I was like, I don't see how anybody can justify a $500 or $600 boot just because it's handmade. I don't think I had ever spent more than maybe $250 on a pair of work boots. This is like, I wouldn't spend this kind of money on snowboard boots. I don't even know what snowboard boots cost anymore. Anyway, I digress. So a year later, they reached out again. I went over, visited, and went through how they make them. Got a chance to look at the leather. And now that I've had the Woodbutcher for about a year and a half, and the boot only looks like it's about 3 or 4 months old. Now that particular boot, I went ahead and had resoled. The original sole didn't perform quite the way I had hoped it would. And so resoled it, I think, in the Nick's sole with a darker color. That's not this boot, by the way. This boot is only about 3 weeks old for me. So I've been wearing it, breaking it in for the last few weeks. About 8, 9, 10 months in with that other boot is when I started to realize and tell other people, hey, I think I could get this one pair to outlast maybe 3 of the other model that I was wearing. And to be honest, I don't really mind replacing boots every year. It's something to look forward to. And as I get older, I want to make sure I have the cushion for my knees and hips and things like that. But what really impressed me about wearing the Nick's is that once they broke in, they were mine, right? They're just like broke into my foot. The wedge sole, in fact, Nick over at Nick's told me that he's never seen anybody have as much heel strike as me, just based on how the other boot was wearing. And I was like, yeah, I never like to wear cowboy boots or anything. This was always my preference because I do, apparently land quite heavy on my heels. I don't really know what that means. I have no idea what that means. Anyway, once they were broken in, I found that they're so comfortable. They lived up to the hype, is basically what I'm saying. So I went back last year, a year ago March, to JLC Live Providence, and I wore my Woodbutcher version 1 the entire time. In fact, I had a conversation with one of the founders of 1620 Workwear, and his comment specifically was like, dude, you are an idiot. You're gonna walk around for 3 days in those boots? Well, I am an idiot, and I did walk around for 3 days in those boots, and guess what? No blisters, no hot spots. I had absolutely no issues, and that's what I told him. I was like, dude, once you break them in, and they're just like molded to your foot, it's a non-issue. So let's get into what is different about this boot. Nick's reached out just a few months back, and they had a newer leather that they wanted to do a Woodbutcher HD, and so that meant a new leather and some features on this boot that weren't in the first version. Okay, so let's just talk about what is different about this boot. Here, I just want you to look at it again. Is that not just a thing of beauty? I just think that the whole wedge sole mock toe style, it's just, like, I have another set of boots that I just wear. That's what I wear out and about, but I don't know. Anyway, so let's talk about what's different about the Woodbutcher HD versus the first one. We'll talk about the leather in just a moment. I'm just gonna go top to bottom, and that way we can just explain the boot, and then I'll try to explain the leather too, because that's really was the genesis of this. At the top, we have the padded ankle collar. Now, personally, I like the look without the collar, but I've had chronic left Achilles on my left foot or my left ankle, since like 2017, end of 2016, something like that. And when it flares up, it takes me a good 4 to 6 months to rehab it. And I haven't figured out why. Like, I don't play basketball or anything anymore, whatever. In fact, if you look at my left Achilles, it's much thicker than my right. It's a little weird. I went and got it checked out anyway. You're not here for that. The padded collar just is a little bit extra cushion. So like for me, Achilles, and when you're bending down and squatting, it's not gonna rub. I didn't have that problem on my last one, but this is kind of a nice feature because literally last summer I was rehabbing my Achilles again. And it did take like the full 4 months, okay? Pull, I like this personally. I don't know what it is, just pull the boots on, makes it nice and simple. We have the top logger eye, if you want to lace up that way. I don't, I always leave the top one undone and just a little bit loose at the top, and then I tighten them as we go through here. Taller heel counter here is just more for stability. Okay, and then as we rotate down to the bottom of the boot, we have the white wedge. This is the Nix white wedge. It's gonna have more longevity than the Christie Vibram sole that you probably have on your boots. I have it on my other boots, and I really, on the heel, really wear that down pretty quickly. It's oil resistant and slip resistant, so we still get plenty of traction. Okay, one other feature just to show you is that if you look right here, there is, yeah, let's see that V notch? That just means it's easier when you bend down. So the last thing I want to go over is just the tongue. A couple things, like my previous tongue you would fold in the middle and then lace, which I really liked. I thought it was kind of cool. But this one I like even better because as soon as I lace, see how that closes? I'm going to try to show that. As soon as I lace, it just closes, and I don't need a keelty. So once I lace this thing, you can kind of see how that already goes. It means it's really easy to train your tongue. I'm sure there's a joke there. Hey, go away, son. Let's talk about the leather. And before we get to the Spokane leather, let me just explain a little bit about why it is that Nix handmade boots are so expensive. So they are handmade. You know what else is handmade? That thing. That's right. I'm in the business of making things by hand, as long as it's not furniture from IKEA. That's an aside. So expect to pay for handmade. So the sole's made in the US, the leather is in the US, and then of course they're put together. You know, I got to watch them build these, right, in Spokane, Washington, which I am from Washington. So that's also a reason why I'm a fan. So let's talk about the leather. This is a Spokane leather, which is a new Horween leather that combines traditional formulas with then modern technology. So in the early 1900s, this chrome pack leather was used because of its heat resistance and durability as seals. And an advantage of that is that the seal wouldn't just catastrophically and suddenly fail and blow out of place, but it would begin to leak as it got old and needed to be replaced. So you can imagine that is safer for the machinery, and it indicates when maintenance needs to be done. So the Spokane takes the base tannage of the chrome pack article and then reintroduces a vegetable tanning. And what that does is it allows this to just wear beautifully and lower the break-in time and just make it comfortable. The proprietary blend developed for this leather will give it a rich hand and great color depth along the finished leather. So I'm scratching the surface. I'm not an expert on leather, handmade boots, etc. All I can tell you is that for me, I have no hesitation recommending Nix boots. It's worth the money, and I think if I looked out to like the 3 to 5 year mark, I'm actually going to save money with this. Plus I can send them in. Eventually I'm going to wear out the sole. That can be removed, a new one can be put on, and then I can just keep wearing that nice supple leather that's been just molded to my foot. So I'm going to put all the information in the video description below, but if you head over to Nix website and there's specifically their YouTube channel, they go into a deep dive on all the options that are available, what are the values of the different like work leathers and heritage leathers, all of that good stuff. You're probably going to lose a few hours just watching those videos because it's pretty cool. They'll even show how they completely recraft a boot. So anyway, thank you for watching the video. Hit that like and subscribe button if you feel like it, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody. Okay, let's do some B-roll. It's a little harder than it looks like. Either that or I'm getting weak. Hey, I'm gonna let this video play out because I have a treat for you. You can watch exactly how my boots are made. So enjoy. And thanks for watching.
powder on it. Bless you.